Welcome to The Explainer. You hear it all the time, right? The AI revolution is this big tech race. But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're going to dig into why the real revolution isn't about the code. Nope, it's about us. It's a human revolution, and believe me, it is already happening.
So let's just get right to it. Is this whole AI thing really just a technology race? I mean, is the winner simply whoever builds the fastest algorithm or has the shiniest, most powerful computer?
Well, the data, it pretty much screams no. It turns out the race to actually win with AI, it has almost nothing to do with the tech itself. It's a human race. It's a race to adapt our culture, our skills, and really the entire way we think about work.
Okay, so where's the real hang-up? If you peek under the hood of most companies, the thing slowing everything down isn't a lack of computing power or some super fancy algorithm. It's us. It's the people. It's the culture. And this quote from Gartner, man, it just hits the nail on the head. You can have the most brilliant, perfect AI model ever created, but if your company culture isn't ready to embrace it, you get absolutely nowhere. Success isn't determined when the model is built. It's determined when people actually have to use the thing.
So Gartner actually breaks this down into 4 really human barriers. You've got a fear of just trying things out, of experimenting. Then there's just plain old change fatigue. You know the feeling, right? Another new system. Then there's just not knowing much about AI in the first place. But the big one, the real showstopper, it's job security. Get this, a massive 7 out of 10 employees are genuinely worried that AI is coming for their job.
And you know what pours gasoline on that fire? A huge and frankly dangerous gap between how leaders see the world and how their employees do. They're looking at the same thing, but seeing 2 totally different pictures.
And look at how big this gap is. It's honestly kind of shocking. Accenture's research shows that 60% of employees are worried about losing their job. 60% are predicting more burnout. Now look at the leaders. Only about a third of them think those are even big issues. When you have a gap that wide, it just erodes the trust you absolutely need to make any kind of change happen.
And that's not just a fuzzy feelings problem. That trust gap has real expensive consequences. Deloitte found that 60% of workers say turnover has actually gone up because of how their company is rolling out AI and using their data. Yeah, people are actually quitting their jobs over this.
Okay, so let's zoom out from inside the company and look at the bigger picture, the entire job market. Because all this internal stuff, it's feeding into one of the biggest shifts we've ever seen. But here's the key thing to remember. The operative word isn't loss, it's transition. Now, this might sound a little counterintuitive, especially with all the fear we just talked about. But check this out. This is from the former CEO of Google. He's actually arguing that in the short term, AI is going to be a net positive for jobs. A positive.
And it's not just him saying it. The World Economic Forum has the data to back it up. I mean, look at this churn they're forecasting. Sure, AI might displace around 92 million jobs. That sounds scary. But, and this is a huge but, it's also projected to create 170 million new ones. Do the math. That's a net gain of almost 80 million jobs. The overall pie is actually getting bigger.
So you see, the core issue isn't going to be mass unemployment. No. The real challenge is the absolutely mind-boggling scale of the transition. McKinsey estimates that 375 million people, 375 million, might have to switch occupations entirely. That's the real mountain we have to climb. Reskilling people on a scale we've just never seen before.
And by the way, it's a huge mistake to think this only affects, factory jobs. There was this old theory about automation just taking the dull, dirty, and dangerous work. Well, that story is incomplete, to put it mildly. The latest data shows this wave of AI is having its biggest impact on cognitive, white-collar jobs. We're talking data entry, accounting, administrative support. Those roles are right at the top of the list.
So, if the answer isn't just automate everything, then what are the companies that are actually winning with AI doing differently? What's their secret? How are they unlocking that real game-changing value?
Well, it really comes down to 2 completely different ways of thinking. Most companies, they get stuck over here, on the left side of the screen. They're just automating little tasks here and there, and yeah, you get some small wins, some minor efficiencies, but it's not a game changer. The real winners, they're over here, on the right, They're using AI as an excuse, as a catalyst to completely reinvent how work gets done from the ground up. And that's where the magic happens. And if you don't believe me, just look at the money. The financial data from McKinsey is about as clear as it gets. They analyzed all these different ways Gen AI can impact a company's bottom line, and what was the #1 driver of profit? #1 out of everything? It was the fundamental redesign of workflows. That's it. It's literally the single biggest thing that separates the winners from everyone else.
Okay, so that's the goal. Reinvent work. But how in the world do you actually do that? That brings us to our final and maybe most important part of this explainer, a practical roadmap. How do we build a bridge from where we are now with all this anxiety to a new, reinvented, and frankly, more human way of working?
All right, drawing on research from a bunch of smart folks, the strategy is really clear, and it's all about people. Step 1, you have to do an honest audit. No fluff. Where are you really at culturally? Step 2, and this is a big one, you have to invest in your people. Right now, for every $1 spent on people, $3 are spent on tech. That ratio is completely backward. It needs to flip. Third, think about AI as a coach. Use it to create experience, like a flight simulator for making tough judgment calls. And finally, #4, you have to communicate with absolute transparency. The mantra should be protect people, not jobs. You have to be open about the churn, but show people a clear path forward through reskilling.
So, when you boil it all down, this whole thing comes down to a choice. That old saying is truer than ever. AI isn't going to replace you, but a person using AI effectively, they absolutely will. So the final question isn't just for big companies, it's for every single one of us. Who are you investing in becoming? Because the time to start building that future is right now.